really do think that a lot of people don't save because they just think that it's a lost cause, that it's hopeless. When you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, rent is what it is, bills are what they are, you've got the responsibilities of life weighing upon you, and you can save $25 that month. We're like, well, who cares? I'd rather take mom out for a burger.
Yep.
And so we don't save.
This is Better Wealth with Caleb William. Welcome to BetterWealth Unlocked, where we give you the keys to living a more intentional life. And I have my good friend and brother, Jereme, and we're going to be talking about actually something that's very, very important. And just to give you a little context, if someone asked me, Caleb, what's the most important thing that you need to become wealthy? It's how you think. And so this is really relevant because a lot of people have shame around money. They have shame around what they should have done and what they have done. And a lot of people feel hopeless. And so, Jereme, let's talk about this when someone comes to you and they feel that.
Yeah.
How as a Better Wealth coach do you what kind of things do you talk about? What do you share? And if you're watching this, because we see this a lot, like people are embarrassed, like they literally don't want to work with us or go to our free assessment at betterwealth.com or whatever, because they just don't want to know, and they feel like it's going to make it even worse. So there's the somber tee up, by the way.
So I'll try to bring some hope to this particular episode. This dialogue came about because I was talking to the team and I said, guys, I really do think that a lot of people don't save because they just think that it's a lost cause, that it's hopeless. And I get it. Like, I get it. When you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, rent is what it is, bills are what they are, you've got the responsibilities of life weighing upon you, and you can save $25 that month. We're like, well, who cares? I'd rather take mom out for a burger.
Yep.
And so we don't save. The other thing I think that causes this is, where do we save? Yep. If I put my cash in a mayonnaise jar and bury it in the backyard, I don't make anything on it. And I think, we're reprimanded to a degree for doing that. And yet at the same time, if I put it in a bank, I'm still losing because of this thing called inflation, which we measure on our model. And if you do the Better Wealth assessment, you'll see how that factor plays a big role. And so where do I put it? Where do I store it? What do I do with it? And when we reach the extent of Investopedia and we realize that, we have to talk to somebody that's trying to sell us something so that they can feed their family, we're like, screw it. I don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't bother. And yet here we are with the Better Wealth model and Better Wealth Unlimited. And what we're doing is we're measuring the ratio between what you're consuming and what you're saving.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big sense of hopelessness with regards to saving. I think some of this has to do with mindset. Caleb said, the difference between a lot of people who have a level of success, whatever that means to you, is mindset, right? I know lots of people that are wealthy in heart and mind and body and family, but they're maybe not necessarily wealthy according to the world standards. It's still a construct of their mind, in that what they have learned has allowed them to feel that way. So it's important, I think, to acknowledge that our society has a 30-minute, 3-commercial sort of mindset with everything.
Yep.
And saving is a long-haul thing. It's a delayed gratification thing. It is doing small things consistently and accountable over time that get you there.
Yep.
But it's also storing that money in a good spot.
So what if someone's feeling hopeless right now?
Yeah.
Like, what if someone's feeling ashamed or feeling like, holy moly, like the last thing I want to do is talk to Jereme. The last thing I want to do is talk to Caleb, because I just don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. I've had several of these conversations recently where we're talking about we are at a deficit, and the very real reality is that you have to increase income and you have to decrease consumption. And trust me, that is a very emotional conversation for me to have as well. But as a coach, I would not be doing the right thing if I didn't just tell you the truth. Yeah. This is the data. You are going to have to make some tough choices. You're going to have to stop doing some things. You may have to come back.
No, you don't have to do anything, but this is what's going to be the outcome. Continuing what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're feeling not good.
Yeah, and I want to back up. You don't need to do anything. You don't have to do any of that. But when you do that first step in saying, you know what, I'm going to, that's the first step towards having hope. Yep. Because you're saying, it's kind of like an AA thing. Like, I'm Jereme and I'm an alcoholic. Well, this is who I am and this is my financial situation, and I want to do something about it. It may not be comfortable.
Right.
But when you do that, you're actually creating a lot of hope, because you're submitting to saying, I want to figure this out. I want to do something about it. And from there, everything gets better.
Right, and I might actually do an episode on this, but I'm in the process of getting my DNA tested, my genomics tested. I don't know half what I'm talking about, by the way. But the reason I'm doing that is, there's some scariness. It's like, oh, what if I have there's I don't know what it's all about, but there is something called the mother effer gene, and it's not good, by the way.
Oh, really? Well,
so I'm like, I don't want to have that gene.
But named accordingly.
But here's the idea of it is, if you know where you're at, and this goes to anything going to get diagnosed, you might be afraid of the outcome, but wouldn't you rather know? Because it might give you a life expectancy, or it could say, hey, Caleb, like, there's some things that are not good, or that now that you know, like, don't eat this food or exercise in this way, and that will actually enhance you. And I kind of think of that as an example of what we're doing here at Better Wealth, is like showing you something, and yes, just by doing that doesn't create hope, but it's the first step. Because part of a lack of hope is not having clarity and not having a belief in what could be, and we can at least have a dialogue and be by your side. Man, like, we could be by your side if you need someone to just like come alongside you and do that.
Totally. We do have choices. Contrary to popular belief, you have a choice. Even if you're even if you're handcuffed, literally, even if you feel like you're underwater, you can make a decision. And starting this with the idea of mindset is a big deal. Yeah. So when we find somebody that has said, you know, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
How do we build hope? How do we have hope? Should you have hope? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Because you have a choice. You can do things. And some people feel hopeless and they have a bunch.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
As far as money and resources is concerned.
Or by going through the process, they see what's possible.
True.
And they get it, and it fires them up.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and you're more than just your money. And
100%.
This is a company that's called Better Wealth. You're more than just your money, and I think that's important. So anything else that this is kind of a unique episode, but I think it's important.
In everything that we do with clients and when we're working with folks, and again, this is from the coach's perspective, my desire and my motivation is to have you step out of our Zoom or step out of our call being excited.
Yep.
Knowing that you can do things, you have choices, you have options, and it's never too late to start, so to speak. Napoleon said, space I can get back, but time I can't. Meaning that if I lose space, the next day I could potentially take it back, but I don't get back that day. It's gone. So I want to encourage everybody here, just take the step. Give us a call. Go do an assessment. Connect with us online. Like a video. Share it. See what happens. Learn something new today. And start the process of having more hope about your time, your talents, your treasure, and your health.
And if you know somebody that is struggling with this, whether it's a family member or a friend, like, please share this video with them. Please share this podcast with them. We're on a mission to really help people give them back hope, but help them see what can be done. And again, I just think of the opportunity cost of time. No matter what outcome you have, every decision you make has a consequence, short term and long term. And so, the best time to plant a tree, Jereme, is 22 years ago.
That's right.
Second best time to plant a tree is today.
Today.
So make sure that that's a reality in your life. Thank you so much for listening to the Better Wealth Podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with the people that you know and love.